Welcome to the Artwork of You, the podcast where your life is the canvas and you are the masterpiece. I'm your host, Lori Gouhin, and together we'll explore creativity, self-awareness, mindset, goal strategy, and the importance of accountability so that you can paint your life's portrait with confidence and ease. Remember, in the gallery of life, you're not just a spectator, you are the art. So let's grab our brushes and start creating the masterpiece that is you. Hello, my friends. I am so glad that you are here with me today because today I want to talk about a somewhat different perspective for anyone trying to build a business, or honestly, for anyone just trying to figure out where they fit in the world. So even if you don't have a business, this episode will be helpful for you. And what I want to talk about is the concept of niche or niche, however you want to say it, niching down. When I first started my coaching business, the pressure to find a niche really felt pretty overwhelming. Everyone seemed to say the same thing: niche down, get really specific, and then stick to it. And although it sounded like good advice at first, as a creative person and as someone who thrives on exploring different ideas and interests, I struggled with it. I struggled with trying to force myself into this quote unquote tiny little box of what I thought my business had to be. And it just didn't feel right. And when something doesn't feel right, it's usually a sign that you're not in alignment with yourself. And so what I realized after years of really trial and error is that you don't have to find a niche because you are the niche. And what makes your business and your life unique isn't just one tiny piece of you, but everything that makes up your perspective, your experiences, your skills, your values, all the things. And when you bring all of those things together, when you embrace the fullness of who you are, that's when things really begin to align. And so today, I'm going to share why you don't need to fit into anyone's box and how you can build a life and a business that's an expression of your most authentic self. And now it's not about rejecting the idea of focus or strategy. You know, that's really important to me. But it's more about that you can be your niche by tapping into your strengths, your passions, and the experiences that have shaped you. Because guess what? When you do this, you not only will feel more fulfilled, but you'll also attract the right people, the clients, the followers, the friends, the opportunities, because they resonate with the real you. So let's talk about this idea of becoming the niche and how you can start building a business and life that works for you. Let's start off by talking about the idea of this invisible framework, for lack of a better word, that many of us are living inside of without even realizing it. And it's not just about how society is telling us to live, but also how we've been conditioned to think about success and business and even our own potential. Because growing up, we're taught to follow certain steps: go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, work hard, and eventually you'll make it. There's a safety net in that path for sure, but have you ever stopped to question if it's really what you want? Or more importantly, if it's aligned with who you are? For me, that moment came when I started my journey as an artist later in life. I didn't follow the traditional path. I didn't go to art school. I didn't have years of experience in the art world. And in fact, I was self-taught in my early 50s. And at that point, I had no following on social media and no connections in the art world at all. I was very hesitant and I lacked confidence because I thought I was supposed to follow a certain blueprint to become a successful artist. And the fear of not having the credentials held me back for quite a while. But then I realized that because those traditional paths were not my path, I had to stop measuring myself by those standards and trust that my unique perspective and experience were valuable. And that's exactly what I help my clients break free from now. This idea that you have to follow a predefined formula for success in order to be valid or capable. This cycle that we fall into where we accept the norms, follow the rules, and don't question whether these structures are helping or hindering us. And many of the clients I work with, especially in entrepreneurship, come to me because they feel stuck. They're following all the steps they're told to follow, but yet they're not seeing the results they want. And again, there seems to be this quote unquote business blueprint, this narrow view that says to succeed in business, you have to niche down, find that one specific thing, and just stick with it. You hear this advice everywhere. Pick one skill, one target market, stay in that lane. But here's the problem. If you're someone who has multiple interests, who evolves and who grows, then sticking to that formula isn't sustainable. It will stifle you. And again, I'm not suggesting to throw away strategy. What I am saying is to reframe your approach. Personally, I've learned that success comes when we stop
blindly following outdated advice and start asking, does this serve who I am and where I want to go? Question the rules you've been taught. Understand which ones are useful and then design a new way forward that actually works for you. I work with people all the time. They feel like they're caught between doing what's safe and taking risks that feel more aligned with who they are. And what I tell them is simple. If you don't take control of your own path, you'll end up living out someone else's version of your success. You'll be stuck in this loop of trying to fit into a mold that doesn't fit you. And breaking free from these, what you might call mental blueprints, whether in life or in business, I know it's not easy, but once you recognize that you have the power to rewrite the rules, you can build a business and a life that's authentic to you. And that's when things start to change. You're not throwing away structure, you're building your own. So now let's talk about why the most profitable and sustainable niche is actually you. And when I say you, I mean the full, authentic version of yourself, your passions, your interests, your experiences, and yes, even your struggles. I always tell my clients that the most successful business or life is not built by following what everyone else is doing, but by leaning into who they are, amplifying more of their strengths, amplifying what makes them them. And going back to when I first started as an artist, it wasn't just about painting. It was about building a business around what I love. And again, I did not have a traditional background in art. I didn't have years of formal training. And at the beginning, I certainly didn't have the confidence that many seasoned artists have. But what I did have was my own unique perspective. I had my experiences, my creativity, and my story. And that's what I built my art practice on, what made me different, not what made me the same. And I paired my art on social media with captions that spoke to my love of personal development, self awareness, and everything that I now coach on. And so the same goes for my coaching business. I don't coach in a way that follows a script. My coaching reflects my own path, my belief in creativity and mindset and accountability. And I guide my clients to build businesses or achieve their goals by focusing on what makes them unique, not some generic template, but what they would genuinely use and buy themselves. And here's why that's so important. Because when you build a business or even just set personal goals around what's true to you, what you genuinely believe in, you don't have to force yourself to be someone you're not. You're not trying to sell a product or a service that doesn't feel aligned with who you are. You're actually offering something that you're passionate about, that you'd invest in yourself. And that's where the real profit lies, both financially and personally. Often people are missing the most powerful opportunity, the opportunity to tap into their own experiences, their own interest, and use that as the foundation for their business. The bottom line is, if you don't care about what you're building, how can you expect anyone else to? When you build something you love, the passion and the energy come through, and it attracts the right people, whether it's clients, collaborators, customers, friends. And that's why the most profitable niche is always going to be you. You've got to know yourself well enough to know what drives you and what you actually care about, knowing your own interests and strengths and building your niche around those. So if you feel stuck in a niche or a role that doesn't inspire you, it might be time to reflect on what really excites you and use that as the foundation for your next step. Because when you do this, not only does your business feel more authentic, but the impact you have is far greater because people are connecting with the real you, not some watered down version of what you think you should be. I want to shift gears for a bit and talk about what it actually means to create your niche. Here's how I like to explain it. Your niche is not just about what you do, it's about how you see the world and how you communicate that view. When people connect with you, it's often because they resonate with the way you think, not just the service or the product that you're providing. In my own journey, I've never been just one thing. I'm an artist, I'm a coach, I'm a strategist, I'm a podcaster, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and someone who values creativity and self awareness. My business reflects all of that. I didn't try to force myself into a niche that felt too small for who I am. Instead, I've embraced my unique worldview and I've built a business around the values and perspectives that matter to me. I think a lot of people get stuck because they believe that in order to be successful, they have to niche down into something ultra specific. But what if your niche is simply the way you approach life, the way that you solve problems, or the way that you think about growth and creativity? That's what I encourage my clients to consider. Instead of trying to fit into a mold, they start to think about their unique perspective as the niche itself. Your combination of interests is actually what makes you unique. And the way that you blend all of your interest into something cohesive is really powerful. Think about it this way. Your identity is a collection of your experiences, your values, and your beliefs. And when you share those openly, it's what draws people to you. Your perspective on life, on business, or personal development is what gives your work depth and substance. People don't just follow you for what you do, they follow you for why you do it and how you approach it. This gives you the freedom to evolve, to explore new interests, and to continue growing without feeling boxed in. When you build your brand or your business in this way, you're not just selling a service, you're creating a relationship with your audience based on shared values and ideas. So instead of narrowing down your niche to a single topic, think about how you can share your worldview in a way that resonates with the people who are most aligned with you. When you do that, your business becomes an extension of who you are, not just a tool for making money. And that's what will lead to long-term success because you're building something that's true to you and evolving with you as you grow. The idea behind it's simple. No one else has lived your life or faced your challenges or learned your lessons in the exact way that you have. So when you embrace that, your niche becomes not just about what you do, but about how you've arrived at where you are now and how you use that to help others, whether that's through a product, a service, or just really relationships in general. Think of your life as a story and your business as an extension of that story. What's unique about you? Not just the service or product you offer, but the way your life experiences shape your approach to those services or products. Your niche is created by documenting your journey, sharing your insights, and offering solutions to people that are just a few steps behind you on a similar path. For me, becoming an artist and a coach didn't happen in a linear way. I didn't wake up one day with a fully formed business plan. It was a process of discovering what mattered to me, what I was passionate about, and how I could use my experiences to guide others. And so I embraced my own path, being self taught as an artist in my 50s. And that story became the foundation of my business. It wasn't about fitting into the traditional mold, it was about showing up as myself, owning my journey, and then as a coach, helping others along the way. So if you're thinking, okay, Lori, how do I start creating my niche? Here's what I tell my clients. First, you have to reflect on your story. Ask yourself, what challenges have you overcome? What lessons have you learned that you can share with others? And how have your interests and experiences shaped your perspective on life? Take a moment and think about those answers. That's the starting point. From there, think about who you were a few years ago before you gained the knowledge and the skills that you have today. Who would have benefited from the insights that you now have? That's your audience. And then next, consider how you can package your journey in a way that helps others. This could be through coaching, creating content. You could create a product or a service. The key is that you're not just selling a product or a skill, you're sharing the transformation that you've gone through and guiding others through a similar process. Once you've reflected on your story and who you're here to help, you can start creating content or products that reflect this. I'm a big believer in documenting your journey as you go, whether that's through social media, blogging, podcasting, doesn't matter. When you share your experiences in real time, it allows people to connect with you on a personal level. They see your growth and your challenges, and they begin to trust you because you're showing them the real human side of your business. Don't worry about being perfect or having all the answers. You'll grow, and as you do, so will your niche. Your perspective will shift, and that's a good thing. It shows that you're moving forward, and it's important to give yourself permission to evolve without feeling like you're losing your identity. Instead, you're just expanding your story and your impact. And so when I say you should focus on creating your niche of one, meaning you are the niche, I'm really encouraging you to embrace your full story, past, present, and future, and let that be the foundation for everything you build. By doing this, you won't just create a business, but something that lasts and reflects who you are, what you stand for, and how you can help others transform their lives. So think about it this way. When I started out as an artist, I didn't know where it would take me. My work has evolved over time, and so has my coaching. I didn't lock myself into one way of doing things. I allowed my interests, my skills, and the feedback from clients to help shape the direction of my business. And that's what I encourage my clients to do as well. Let your niche be flexible enough to grow with you. It doesn't have to revolve around what's already popular or trendy. This one is a big trap for a lot of people. They think, well, if everyone else is doing this, so should I. But following trends or copying what's already out there is a recipe for burnout and unhappiness. Because if you're not genuinely passionate about the direction you're going in, it's going to be hard to sustain. Because just because something is trending doesn't mean it's right for you. If you build your business or life around trends instead of your authentic interest, you're always going to be chasing the next best thing. And that's exhausting. So instead, focus on what matters to you, what lights you up, and build from there. That's how you create something lasting and fulfilling. And again, this concept applies to your personal life as well. It's about knowing who you are and what you value. When you start living from that place, everything will start to align. And so to wrap it up, your niche does not have to be narrow. It does not have to be permanent. It does not have to follow trends. And it is not about your business. It's about you. Once you let go of these misconceptions, you can start to see your niche as something far more fluid, something that's constantly evolving and expanding as you grow. Now, there's no shortcut here. Authenticity is the foundation of everything, especially if you want to build an audience that's engaged and loyal. When people connect with you on a real level because you're showing up as your true self, that connection goes far deeper than any strategy or marketing tactic or trend. It becomes personal. I can't emphasize this enough. People don't just want to buy products or services. They want to connect with the person behind the brand. They want to feel like they know you, that they understand you and trust you. That's why showing up authentically matters so much. And when I say authentically, I mean not trying to fit into someone else's idea of what success looks like or hiding parts of yourself because they don't fit the mold. For me, authenticity has been the key to building my business as both an artist and a coach. Instead of trying to pretend like I had it all figured out, I showed up as I was, someone who was figuring it out as I went along, someone who is still figuring it out as I go. I share the ups and the downs, the moments of uncertainty that have allowed people to relate to me. They saw themselves on my journey, and that's what drew them in. I don't try to be the all-knowing, always put-together expert. I show the human side of entrepreneurship, of goal setting and personal growth, and that's what makes my coaching resonate with people. They're not just seeing the polished version. They're seeing the process, the progress, and the real-life challenges. So here's something I want you to think about. Your audience can sense when you're trying to be something you're not. They can tell when you're only showing the highlighted reel or when you're following someone else's formula. Trust is the most valuable currency you have when building an audience. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from today's episode, it's this. You don't have to follow anyone else's blueprint for success. You are your niche. Your unique combination of experiences, passions, and values is exactly what will set you apart, whether you're building a business or just trying to figure out your next steps in life. The path you create will always be more fulfilling and ultimately more successful if it's true to who you are. And I know that stepping into this level of authenticity and self-trust can feel risky, but the alternative is living a life that's disconnected from your true self. And in my opinion, that's a much greater risk in the long run. So here's my challenge to you. Take some time this week to reflect on what makes you, you. Ask yourself what you genuinely care about and how you can build that into your life and your work. Write it down, talk about it with someone, and most importantly, start showing up as that version of yourself. And if you're ready to go deeper, to really explore how you can turn your unique perspective into a thriving business or a more fulfilling life, I would love to work with you. Reach out or go to my website, www.theartworkofyou.com, to learn more about my personalized one-to-one coaching. And remember, you don't need to fit into a box to succeed. You just need to trust that who you are is enough.
That's a wrap for today, my friends. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And remember to show up in your life like the masterpiece you are, because you are the artwork. Please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Have a fabulous day.